celebration post-game, it's never a good outcome for us. We know that, our clubs know that, our officials know that. But we also know our officials are human. We also know that they're officiating a game that moves very quickly and have to make snap decisions under difficult circumstances. And they're not going to get it right every time. As I say, they're human.
That was NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. Today, right now, we're going to send you to Bill Belichick at the microphone. Join us at 7 p.m. for another Patriots Right Now here from Atlanta.
So I try to run the best ones we can, run the good ones. So if there's one that we don't feel good about, we probably have enough other things to use in place of it. So I think everybody wants to feel good about the plays that we call, the coaches, the players, and feel like we can go out there and have our best execution, which we'll need against the Rams. So that's the point we're trying to get to.
Roberto Silva from TV Azteca, Noreste. Coach, I have read some of your books, about your bio, the difficult path that took you to get here. And I want to know if you will write a book someday about your plays, fundamentals, and all that once you get retired.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, right now I'm just trying to get ready for the Rams, and that's a full-time job. So we'll worry about that other stuff some other time. Thanks. But you buy one.
All right. Coach, right here, James Duthie from TSN in Canada. You've always had success with run-pass balance, but the last couple of months, and in the playoffs in particular, you developed the smash-mouth running game, gobbling up big yards and eating huge chunks of clock. How did this develop? How important has it been to you getting here? How big is it on Sunday?
Well, I don't know about Sunday. We'll see how the game goes. There have been games where we've run the ball, we've thrown the ball, we've been balanced. So I don't think that's as important as moving the ball and scoring points. So if we move the ball and score points, I think we'll feel good about our offensive production. If we don't, then we won't. It's not about stats, it's about really production.
Matt Verderam, fan-sided. Coach, your teams have always had very scheme-flexible defenses, even dating back to when you were a coordinator with the Giants. How much does versatility go?
Well, what goes into the game plan is identifying the things that your opponent does well and how you feel like you need to play them. Defend it. And sometimes that depends on what you do, depends on how versatile or how much experience your players have and what they're able to handle. Again, as I said earlier, you want to do something that you feel confident in, the players feel confident in, something that we've done before or that we know how to do, at least the fundamentals. Maybe it's two things put together to create something new, but at least we've done the basics and the fundamentals of it before. So versatility is good. I mean, look, we face a lot of different types of offenses throughout the league, and you need some versatile players on the field, but you also need good players who can do certain things. If they can do it very well, they don't have to be versatile. They can just do their things. You don't need 11 versatile players, but you're going to need a couple. And that's true, really, I think, in all three phases of the game. But I don't think that's a must for everybody. But if you don't have a few guys that can do that, then you become a little bit inflexible, and eventually there'll be some matchups that'll, I think, give you problems.
Hey Coach, Alan Bell, 24/7 Sports. When you're facing a team that has multiple talented running backs, setting a plan, do you approach those running backs individually, or do you look maybe the offensive line scheme of how they're blocking? How do you go about that? And I understand that it's kind of a game plan question too, but just how do you approach that?
Yeah, look, we need to know every player that's on the active roster, and then the ones that get eliminated on the inactive list before the game. We don't have to worry about them for that game, but the guys around that active roster, we need to know them all. They're players are different, they have different skills, and knowing which player's in the game, and if that player has more of a tendency in one particular thing than another, or the way the team utilizes that player in one way or another, then that's important for us to know. So yeah, absolutely, we definitely need to know who's in the game. You know, I'm sure a lot of their plays are the same plays for both guys, and do they run the same? I don't know. There are some similarities. I think there's some differences. Again, we need to know those differences, at least to prepare for them. And then, you know, as the game unfolds, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, we have to know everybody that's on the active roster. That's our job.
Tony Grossi, ESPN Cleveland.
Tony?
How would you describe the contributions Josh Gordon made to the Patriots season, and would you be willing to welcome him back if he were ever reinstated?
Yeah, I think we've already talked about that, Tony. And you know, right now I'm just focused on the players that are here and they'll be playing in this game.
Bill, Brian Costello, New York Post. What does Trey Flowers bring to your defense?
Well, Trey's been a very productive player for us for the last 3 years. You know, missed most of his rookie year, but he's been very productive. He's a versatile player. He does a lot of things well. He's a great worker, great teammate, guy that everybody has a lot of confidence in. He really works very hard to excel at his job, both knowing what to do, reading his keys and the techniques and fundamentals that he can exercise in a lot of different positions. He's played everywhere from the nose to 9 techniques, so he's been a very key player for us and a very good player.
Hi, Richard Farabo, Sport 1 TV Hungary. One of the big mysteries with the Patriots games, if you are winning the coin toss, that you want the ball or you defer, what are the deciding factors about this question?
Yeah, the circumstances of that particular game, so our opponent and all the things that go with the things that are part of that game. So we talk about that each week and make that decision independently of other weeks and other games. We try to do what we feel like is best for that particular game for whatever the combination of reasons are, but they're different every week because our opponents are different and sometimes the circumstances of the game are different.
Coach Tyler Englander, WBN. Can you talk about the differences and challenges in preparing for 2 running backs, C.J. Anderson and Todd Gurley?
Yeah, I mean, as we said, both those players are outstanding players. You know, a lot of the plays are the same, if not all of them. They may have separate plays for each guy, but there would be no way for us to know that. We'd have to anticipate that each player could run the other plays the other one runs. You know, they're both good downhill runners. They're strong. They have good balance. They fight for extra yards. They're hard to tackle. They're tough in the open field. So they've done a good job for them.
Coach, Matt Birch, the Sports Daily. You've done a great job. Your staff and the offensive line has done a great job keeping Brady upright this year, or this playoffs. He's been hit 3 times in the last 90 pass plays. Talk about maybe some of the challenges the Rams' defensive front presents and how you'll be able to kind of keep Brady upright.
Well, pass protection is it'll be a big challenge for us this week against the Rams. They have a great pass rush. They have a lot of different players that can put pressure on the passer. Of course, it starts with Donald, but it's a lot more than him. And guys like Sue can line up anywhere from on the nose to a 3 technique to sometimes out in a 5 or a little bit wider than that. So they move those players around a little bit. They also have some blitz packages that affect your protection. So we'll have to do a good job of all those. It'll take good teamwork across the board, our offensive line, our quarterback, our receivers getting open so we don't have to hold the ball, tight ends and so forth. So that'll be a combination of things, but it's obviously difficult. They're very good. Wade does a real good job with his rush packages and finding matchups, creating problems for the offense based on the type of protection or the type of plays that they run in certain situations. And he makes those matchups tough. So we'll have to, it'll be a battle. It'll be a battle.
Coach, you've said, Nick Pedone, Cleveland Sports Talk, you've said that the Rams have potential to be explosive in just about everything that they do. With that in mind, what's the mindset like for you as a coach in trying to make this thing a shootout of a game or try to win a close scoring affair?
Well, I mean, it starts with not giving up a lot of, easy plays. I mean, they've scored 5 times on defense and special teams this year, so block a punt, they can return a punt, they can, Kansas City game, strip sack the quarterback and walk it in for a touchdown. So, Talib, Peters, those two guys can, very dangerous back there to pick the ball off and run in for a touchdown. So, I would start with that. I mean, when I say they're explosive on all three phases of the game, obviously offensively they can score from anywhere with a number of different guys, but I mean defensively they scored on turnovers, and in the kicking game they're very explosive and dangerous too. So there's no play really to relax on these guys. They can do a lot of damage in a lot of different ways, and we're gonna have to play 60 minutes of good football. I mean, you screw up one play and they'll have it in the end zone.
Coach William Benditson, how you doing?
Good.
I was just wondering, one of the things I find remarkable about you, like me, I have a love of history, and you do too, for both the game and American history too. Where did you sort of develop that love of history, and does it help you as a coach, given your vast knowledge of football history? Seem to know everything, a lot of what's gone on in the game in the past 50 years.
Do I take that as a compliment, or okay? Guess I've been around a long time. Well, obviously, we'll start with my parents. I mean, they were, both educators. We had a lot of books and always read a lot about history and visited historical places. Certainly, Annapolis is one, but going to Gettysburg and all the Washington things, that was always field trips and so forth. But from football standpoint, my dad collected football books from the time I can remember, just as a little kid, and then I sort of got into that too. I'd find books for him, or he'd have doubles and so forth, and so we ended up with, I think it was like 4,000 books or something like that. And it was a lot of them. Anyway, so from a football historical basis, that was the books there, and then that led to a lot of other conversations about the books that were written, who they were written about, or what the subject was and so forth. Certainly football coach, and the books he collected were really old books. I mean, I'd say, he didn't want anything really after 1960. It was, and there's surprisingly quite a few books that were football books that were written in that era. So, talking about the people that were featured in those books, people like, Amos Alonzo Stagg, who coached Coach Harden, who was the head coach at Navy, and we talked about him yesterday. Zupke, Yost, Camp. I mean, you can go all the way back into the 1900s, the teams, and all the pro coaches, Hallis and Lambeau and so forth. So all those players were people were, prominent in the development of the game. My parents are from Ohio, from outside of Cleveland. And so we regularly went to the Hall of Fame in Canton, and my dad knew a couple of the people there that he had known from his Ohio connections, and we would go down into the basement of the Hall of Fame, and they would show us their collection of books, which was, other than the Library of Congress, I think it's the largest collection of football books that there is. And at least we got a chance to see some books. Like, we recognized a lot of them, but there were certainly a lot of them that we didn't have, and back in those days it was a little harder to find them without some of the resources we have now. So we did that. So we'd spend hours down in the basement of the Hall of Fame, just going through their books and their library. And again, the Hall of Fame was an annual trip for us. It was part of the. We went to Hiram, where the Cleveland Browns practiced, and my mom taught, and my dad coached football and basketball and track there, and so that's where they met. So the Browns are there, the Hall of Fame, Paul Brown, the Cleveland Browns. I mean, all that was just that's how I grew up. So, and I've always enjoyed it. I've always been interested in it, and it's always fascinating for me to talk to people from that predate me, which I guess there aren't that many anymore, but there's a couple, and. Especially the coaching part of it, learn about the evolution of certain defenses or of certain techniques or how the game evolved, before I was really introduced to it. One of the best experiences I had was in the 8th grade. My eighth grade coach played at Clemson, and we ran the single wing. And so
That's the only time I've had any exposure to the single wing, but obviously that was a key part of the game, going all the way back into the, teens and 20s with, Rockney's, box and so forth. And then Lambeau took that to Green Bay, and then we evolved in the T formation. But everybody grew up playing T formation when I was a kid. So to have the opportunity to run the single wing for a year and just understand it, and that's obviously what my dad ran and what he played, and so we talked a lot about that. But that was a great experience for me, one that I really appreciate. Coach Mann ran it. I didn't really know it. None of us knew what it was. There was only a couple college teams that I think UCLA and Clemson. I don't know, were a couple of the last teams to run it. And then we actually, when I was at Andover, we played against it at Lawrenceville, and under Coach Kuffel, who now he ran it. That was in the early 70s, but he continued to run it at Lawrenceville Academy after that. So I didn't obviously play there, but we did play against it one year when I was in high school or in prep school, and so that was a great experience for me too. That I had an opportunity to do that. Again, and just while I'm on the subject, I'd say we've had so many conversations about great players and so forth, but one of the real, I think, challenges when you talk about great players in the National Football League is the two-way players versus the one-way players. And in our game today, everybody's essentially a one-way player, including the specialists. If you go back to a certain point in time, let's call it the 40s and certainly the 30s, but there were mostly all two-way players, and that was a different type of a player. So maybe they didn't excel as much in some skills as some of the current players do, but our current players don't have to play both ways, or they do in rare situations. I mean, Edelman's done it for us, Troy Brown did it for us, Vrabel did it for us, but that's a pretty short list. So that's a long answer to a short question, but thank you for getting me going on that. Yeah. Class, class will start tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Yeah.
I don't know how to follow that up. You guys have talked for 20 years about being game plan specific, and other coaches will talk about how amazing it is how you guys are able to toggle from being one thing to being the next on the fly. I'm wondering if wanting to be that way has sort of required you guys to look for a certain type of player regardless of position.
Well, yeah, I think, again, it's a function of your roster makeup and versatility. And, again, we see a lot of different things over the course of the year, offensively, defensively, and in the kicking game. And it's hard for, for us, for one size to fit all. We try to be competitive against all of those things. And to do that, I think you need players with a variety of skills, and some players that are able to transcend different positions, if you will, or different techniques depending on what you're facing and what you're up against. So I don't know. Again, that's just kind of the way I was brought up. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but that's just the way I look at the game. I want to try to match up against our opponent the best that we can, and sometimes that involves doing things that you haven't done the week before or you haven't done the month before, because this game's just different. And sometimes it isn't. Sometimes you're able to find a pattern of things that you're able to build on week after week, and that certainly happens many times too. And there's a lot of advantages to that. So.
Is it fair to say intelligence is an important piece of that for players to be able to go from one to the other?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it is, again, I hear the phrase a lot on players. Well, once they have it, they have it. It might take them some reps or some experience to get it. Once they have it, they have it. That doesn't really help us too much, because each week can be a new week. So once you have it, you have it for that week, but you don't necessarily have it for the next week. So a lot of our learning is to a degree reteaching, re-game planning every week. So I think it takes a certain type of individual that can have the motivation and the discipline to continue to want to do that, to throw away last week's game plan, to forget about last week's keys and film and everything else, and move on to the next team and start from scratch and start to just rebuild the house each week, and then at the end of the week move on and start on a new one. And that's not easy to do. I give our players a ton of credit. They work extremely hard. They prepare hard. They are very committed to trying to do what we ask them to do. And I really appreciate that because I know we demand a lot, and they respond with a lot. So we have a great group. Couldn't ask for any better group.
Okay, we have one more question.
Adam Beasley with the Miami Herald. Coach O'Shea has been part of your staff for the better part of a decade. What specifically has he done to make your team better?
Yeah, Chad's been with us for quite a while, and I knew Chad's dad, Mike. He and I were together with the Colts in '75, so I know his family and so forth. Chad's done a great job with the receivers, and worked very closely in developing those players and some of our other younger players in that receiving area at different positions and so forth. He's done a good job of handling. That's primarily what it's been. It's been the receiver position, but he's done a great job of handling that for us. Okay, great. Thank you.
When Girl Scout ingenuity meets Dunkin' Coffee, you get a cup of can-do. Girl Scout cookie-inspired flavors are back at Dunkin'. Try Thin Mints, Coconut Caramel, or Trefoil Shortbread flavors. And get your $2 medium latte or cappuccino from 2 to 6 p.m. America runs on Dunkin'.
There's a timeout. They're going to ice the kicker.
The snap is good. Reds are up.
Still love playing the game, and have you at all thought about retiring?
No, I haven't. I mean, I've been focused on this season. It's been a lot of fun this year. We battled through different things, ups and downs of the team. So being here now, in my 9th year, and being able to go with these guys out every day and work, and coming off tough losses, coming off big wins, and just kind of ramping it back up and getting ready to go. And then, getting to play in the last game. Being back in Foxborough was awesome, but then being here this week, of hanging with the guys off the field and then just putting in the work to try to prepare and be ready to go for Sunday has been a lot of fun.
Devin Edwarder with Westwood One. You got a chance to see, in some respects, your defense against the Rams offense because they played the Lions and Matt Patricia, your former defensive coordinator. What are the benefits of having that tape and that experience to look at?
I would say one of the benefits is a lot of it we're familiar with. Some of the things that Detroit tried to do. Obviously, we don't know exact game plan wise, and within this defense, whether it's here or Matty P, having the ability to adjust and change game plan depending on that week. So, we definitely watched that game. I think as the players just to see if we could figure out some of the things Detroit was trying to do and how the Rams attacked them. So we know there's some crossover there, so we'll probably see some things that hurt them in the game. But that's what this time of the year is about, going through all of these games, regular season and playoffs, and anything that we do similar to another team and the Rams have had success with, we kind of expect to see some of that.
Hello, Devin. Jesus Sanchez from Reforma Group in Mexico. What's been the best part and also the worst part about playing alongside your brother Jason?
I would say the best part is he kind of knows who I am and pushes me, and great communication. And I would say the worst part is he kind of knows who I am and gets on my nerves.
Devin here. Hi, Devin.
Hello.
Hey, to follow up on that a little bit, I'm sure you've probably been asked this a lot this week, but I'm going to ask it again anyway. Do you have a memory or two you could share from your childhood, a favorite memory with your brother?
Wow, we have a lot. I would say, I guess, some of the best memories were just in high school, playing high school football together, high school basketball. I always tell a story. Our high school coach, Coach Doherty, would call a timeout, and he'd get on the sideline and want to draw something up for the team. But me and Jay would be mad at each other, so we'd be yelling and screaming at each other on the sideline until there was about 20 seconds left in the timeout. He'd tell us to shut up and then get to coach. So we've been super competitive, work well together, but, go at each other pretty hard at times. But I would just talk about playing Pop Warner football together and having fun, and never would imagine to be able to now be on this platform playing in the Super Bowl together with the same kind of mentality.
Hey, Devin, Matt Verder, I'm a fan side. Just curious, Your defense, the Patriots defense, is so versatile in the way it can play from week to week. You guys are a heavy man team, but a lot of times guys play different roles throughout that defense. How hard is that to do on a week in, week out basis compared to maybe other teams where they're fairly inflexible in the way they play?
It's a challenge, but I think it's something we're all used to. We all know we can have multiple roles and game plans, and a lot of it kind of falls on the key communicators out there and the guys that have been here for a while. So, but I think within that challenge, we know a lot of times if we're doing multiple things, it probably puts us in the best position for the team and also our strength. So I think that's one of the best parts about playing in this defense. It definitely allows guys to play in different positions that, fall into their strengths physically and mentally. So each game we go in, and each time we come in Wednesday morning, it's kind of like, all right, let's see what we got. Let's see where I am. And we never really know how we're going to play. Maybe one of your coaches shoot you a text Tuesday night. But other than that, I think guys are always mentally prepared to play different roles.
Hey, Devin, Tom Lydon, Boston 25 News. Take me back, if you could, to the plane ride back from Pittsburgh, because you lose 2 games in a row. This team's facing something that you really haven't faced much over the last few years. What were you feeling, I guess is the best way to ask specifically, about what the team's chances were at that point?
Just feeling like we need to win the next week. That point in the season, I think we kind of went into each game, wanting to win. To go to Miami, had a chance to win the division, then go to Pittsburgh, have a chance to win the division. You're looking at other scores and realize you still have a chance to win the division. There's still a lot in front of you. And I thought that was kind of the tone throughout the whole team, that no matter what happened, we still had a lot in front of us to play for. And, we ended up kind of exactly where we left off, losing to Miami. For those 2 weeks, we still left off in the driver's seat to get the 2 seed, and we got that. And then we knew once you got in the playoffs, it was all about how you played.
Hey, Dev. Tom Curran, NBC Sports Boston. I wanted to ask you, obviously you guys have spoken many times about how difficult it is to play for New England, the expectations, the amount of work that you're expected to put in. How hard can that be to get up for year in, year out when the season goes as long as it does? And what have you guys done this year that's made it seem more enjoyable in any ways, if at all?
I would say the off season allows you to get ready for whatever the next season entails. You kind of get to recharge your batteries, a lot of time with your family doing things that you truly enjoy in the off season. So I think as an older guy, you learn to use that time wisely and really enjoy it, because once football ramps back up, you're all in. And then I would say within the season, bye weeks and stuff kind of give you time to get away. And what was your second question?
This team expects
Oh, yeah.
What are you able to have? I know Bill does a few things during the year, but what were you able to do differently this year for fun?
I think just starting in April, we had some pretty cool team exercises, and I thought the team got to grow together. We have a great mix of older guys and young guys within the team. Like, you look at our secondary, we're, as most of you would say, we're on the older side. But you look at guys like Keon and JC and Duke and now Obi being there, I think kind of makes some of us feel young again, allows us to have a good time teaching those guys and mentoring those guys. And I think through that, it's allowed us to just have a great bond inside the locker room, whether it's trash talking and competing or just doing things to have fun within the locker room or within our team time.
Devin, Phil Perry,
Did you
NBC
guys
Sports
plan?
Boston.
Did y'all plan that?
Yes, coming at you from all sides. Rob Gronkowski, somebody you've practiced against quite a bit over the years. I'm wondering if, given the amount that you study tight ends across the league and you kind of see where that position has gone, if you feel like we will ever see a tight end similar to Gronk in terms of being able to both block and catch as effectively as he has.
Probably. I feel like you watch high school sports, these kids are way better athletes than the guys like me born in the late 80s. So I wouldn't be surprised. I think just seeing, how athletic guys are and what they're able to do. Like, look at Big Trent in our team. He showed us a video back during the season of him doing dunks and stuff, and I think it was in the off season. So I wouldn't be surprised, but it might take a while. He's a pretty good player.
Devin Trader, 7 News out of Boston. You've been fortunate enough to see and do so much in your 9-year career. How have you noticed through these years your hunger, your motivation, your goals? How have they evolved?
Just having fun playing football, I say. I think coming in and getting a chance to get to know guys and having a relationship with guys like Slater and Chung and Jules that, have been there since I was a rookie, and all the different ups and downs we've had, playing in Super Bowls, heartbreaking losses in Super Bowls, AFC championships. I think getting the opportunity and being very thankful and blessed to play with those guys each year, and then taking on a role of being a leader and a mentor to all the younger guys and trying to pass the knowledge, to Vince Wilfork, Gerard Mayos, Kevin Fox, passed down to me. I kind of passed down to them, and I think seeing them succeed and have success with those things is great inspiration and motivation each day I come in the facility.
We're going to do 2 more questions for Devin. First one's in the front row.
Thank you, Devin. Jacobo Luna for Fox Sports Latin America. You grew up watching that Rams offense with Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, Torrey Holt. Do you see any kind of similarities between McVay's Rams and the greatest show on turf? I mean, they got the receivers, the running back, the quarterback.
Yeah, they both score a lot of points. So we got to do a good job of trying to limit them. But yeah, I would definitely say there's some similarities. I even got a chance to play with Torrey Holt when I first got in the league. So they're a tough team. I think, obviously they had a nickname that was pretty cool years ago, but this offense is still able to put up a lot of points and yards in the game.
Last question for Devin.
Hi, Chelsea McDonald, 7 News. How much has your mom influenced you throughout your entire life, and how special do you think it's going to be for her to see you and your brother playing in the Super Bowl?
She's been my hero since I was young. I think growing up throughout the years and seeing her sacrifices, she got hurt on the job and had to collect disability, and I think her whole life kind of shifted towards raising her kids. She took us and picked us up from every practice, from youth all the way up to high school, dropped us off at college. When we didn't get our license right away in college, she'd pick us up on the weekend sometime. So my mom sacrifices throughout the years of what she was able to do for her kids. I think kind of taught me how to step up and be a man, be a father, be a husband, and it's really changed my life. So as much as I think Jason and myself have enjoyed being together and having fun, you guys seen us Monday night joking around, she gets in here tomorrow, and I'm sure she'll be all smiles from Thursday all the way up till Monday morning. Thank you.
We struggled going back in the 80s in New England with a stadium, with the potential of a relocation of the franchise. And that all changed when Robert and Jonathan and the Kraft family bought that team. It changed because he brought that leadership, that passion as a fan, the incredible business acumen that he has. He got a world-class stadium built. He's built a world-class organization that has had unparalleled success over the last 20 years, 25 years. And that's a tribute to the Kraft family. They are extraordinary, not just in the local market, where I think they understand their fans. They have created incredible experiences. They're innovative. But I also can't think of many owners that have been as involved, as impactful on league level matters. Robert and Jonathan both serve on an array of committees. They're engaged in league matters and have made a huge difference. And I can say that personally as commissioner, he's made a difference. They both have made a difference for me.
What was it like for you to watch last year's Super Bowl, not be able to play?
I already been down that yesterday with a bunch of people. I'm done with that. I'm worried about the Los Angeles Rams and not what happened last year.
Julian, is it hard to stay in touch with some of your friends while you're out here for the Super Bowl? Yeah.
Definitely. You got to make this like a regular work week. I don't see a lot of my friends during the season, and if they're real friends, they understand that, and if they don't, then I gotta get kicking.
And will you be shaving your beard if you win?
I don't know. I don't know yet.
What type of preparation goes into maintaining your beard?
Shampoo, condition, and potentially a beard balm or oil, depending on the occasion.
Thanks, Julian.
No problem.
You trim it up at all? Keep it tight?
Haven't touched it.
Julian, back in 2011, when you switched over to the cornerback for a few games, do you remember what that conversation was like? Coaches approached you about it, just like how they approached you about having to move?
Honestly, they just said you're going to the meeting.
Josh Boyer said that you told him later that you thought that might mean you were getting cut.
100%. Thought I was getting cut.
Julian, looking at your numbers from 2013 to now, your regular season stats and your playoff stats in the playoffs, your numbers all improved. What can you attribute you being able to consistently take it to the next level when it's really most important?
I think it's honestly just going out and practicing hard. We have some really good coaches, so if you're doing something wrong, listen to what they got to tell you to what they think. Work hard at what they think that you should do, and then if you keep on doing that, things will improve. So that's approach like every other year. You just kind of go out and try to put everything you got into going out and win a ball game.
What was the tone of practice today?
It was sharp, focused.
How jumping around laughing?
It's still a little loose, but this is just out there trying to get things done. Yep.
Julian, Monday night, Tom referred to Douglas Garnett as the greatest offensive line coach in NFL history. What has been his impact, his presence on you, obviously collectively for the offensive line?
I mean, Coach Scarnecchio, he's been around a long time. I mean, he's coached excellent ball for a long time, and to get to be around him is an honor because the way he is as a professional, coming in and getting his work done. I mean, the guy lives at the facility. He's first one in, works his tail off. I don't get coached by him, so it's different. We only see each other in the hallways and overall offensive meetings. But Coach Scar, he's got a presence about him that when he talks to you, you feel good. It's kind of like, you know what I mean? And he works his tail off, and you see it daily.
Tom's yet to be sacked in the postseason. What kind of pride or maybe swagger those guys walk around with right now?
I haven't seen him walk in any differently, or waddle.
Julian, have you given any thought at age 33? How much is over?
I'm 32, but I'm worried about just this game.
Any worry whatsoever about football on your body long term?
I mean, I've been considering this big game this Sunday. That's all I'm really focused on for real. I mean, that's all. I mean, that's all I can really focus on. The game Sunday's huge. I mean, it's the biggest game of the year. So, I mean, after the season, you always sit down. I've always sat down after the season to see where I was at. So we'll see.
Hey, Rob, late in the season, what's been the difference?
What's up?
We've seen a resurgence in your play. You played better than the last few games. How Tom, what's been the difference?
I don't know. I don't really know. Just playing ball, just playing football. We had that little bye week, get some downtime at the beginning after the season. Things just started rolling together and putting pieces together, and it's just going good. I mean, the playoffs always, from the regular season, is always a new season too. So you get new opportunities, and things were just rolling in the playoffs and going well. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Earlier in the season, the team was struggling, wanting to win whatever you want. There was a lot of talk, crumbling dynasty. Was that absurd talk to you?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's absurd talk because we've heard it every year. I mean, I've heard it before 5 years ago. So, I mean, it's just part of the process. I mean, you just got to ignore the noise, got to keep doing what you got to do. You got to stay focused, stay on the grind, keep being there for your teammates, and you see how it plays out. And as you saw, that's what we did throughout the year, and look where we are now. We're in the Super Bowl once again.
Mr. Commissioner said in the future maybe NFL play game in China. And what's your first thought of this?
A game in China?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, what's the travel? How many hours? Like
maybe 12 hours.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, maybe if they somehow made it into like a 2-week trip. Something like that, to play 2 games out there, because that travel is pretty tough on players, playing one Sunday and then traveling 12 hours and playing another Sunday. I mean, it would be tough for that to happen.
Yeah, but this year the Super Bowl will play on the New Year's Eve. And can you say hello to our Chinese fans?
What's that?
This year the Super Bowl will play on the New Year's Eve. Can you say hello to our Chinese fans?
Yes. Hello.
This year is the
no problem.
year of pig.
Yes. Hello, fans in China. I'm Rob Gronkowski, and wish you guys happy Chinese New Year. And stay tuned to watch the Super Bowl. Only 2 days ahead.
Okay, and your video of playing ping pong is very popular in China. Is that your hobby?
Yeah, I love playing ping pong. Actually, Julian and I, we battled for many, many years, and I think he's beaten me 1 time. I mean, I beat him about 30 times, 30 to 50 times. He's got 1 win.
Yeah.
But I love playing ping pong, love playing activities like that.
But next month, we're going to have the best ping pong player, the big event in China. If we invite you to play that, do you think you can beat them?
No, I don't think I can beat him. I'm not that good. No, I'm decent. I'm good for a player that just, just plays, but I'm not at that level.
Okay, welcome to China before you retire. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Welcome.
Rob, first of all, Siebes Ballmer wants me to say hi to you.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a German TV station.
Yes, tell him what's up. Saw him last week.
Okay, I will. Now, this is the 3rd day. Can that be?
I mean, very repetitive. A lot of questions. I mean, it's part of the process. You got to go through it. This is my 5th Super Bowl, being part of the process. So, I mean, at times it can be for sure.
Now, is that an advantage? Because that's what I was leading to, that this is your 5th time, and then the Rams, they're going through it for the first time for the most part, the players. Is this an advantage to you?
I mean, it's an advantage to know about how the week goes, what to expect, knowing the requests, the ticket requests, party requests, the family parties, all that type of stuff. You know how to deal with it a lot easier.
Appreciate it, man.
Yes.
In your 2 playoff games so far, Tom hasn't been sacked. He's upright and gives it an extra split second for receiving core. How more effective can you be tonight?
I mean, you got to give credit to our offensive line right there. I mean, no sacks. I don't even think he was touched the last 2 games, if that's correct. I mean, last game I don't think he was touched. Maybe he got hit a couple of times in the Chargers game, but you got to give credit to our offensive line. I mean, they've been rarely talked about. They've been doing a great job. Just working together to help Brady out. And in that case, when that happens, Tom can sit back, read out the coverages, read out who's open, and make the play happen.
Hey, Gronk, how confident is this football team right now?
I mean, we're going in. I mean, you got to go into the game confident. I mean, we've won the last 4 games, the last 2 at the end of the season. And the last 2 playoff games, we've been playing hard, we've been playing together, and we've been playing as a team. And that's how you got to play a game of football in order to win, in order to keep on advancing the playoffs. So we're confident, but we know it's going to be a tough game, and we know we got to bring it.
How was practice today? How did that go?
Oh, it was good. Practice was well. I mean, we had a good practice Monday too, a little off day yesterday, but practice went well today. I mean, it wasn't, one of the spectacular Wednesday practices that we normally have, full pads, but we've been having good practice week and just getting ready for the big game.
What can you learn from other Super Bowls as you go into this one? What are you taking with you personally?
I mean, personally, for the whole week, the process throughout the whole week, you've learned, how to deal with the situations more. I mean, don't let that really distract you. You got one goal, one mission, and that's to win a game, and that's to do the best you can possibly do and give the best performance you can possibly give on Sunday. And really, nothing else matters throughout the week. And then for experience, for the during the game, I mean, experience really doesn't matter. It's all about how you go out and play that day, that game, on this coming up this Sunday. So you just got to be ready, prepared. It doesn't matter how many years you played in the game, it's the best team, the best players that go out and play the best this Sunday coming up. Oh, it's a good relationship. I mean, first off, on the field, you got to build a chemistry, a relationship like that. And, you know, it's kind of like building a friendship. You got to trust in each other. You got to be there for each other. And on the field, I mean, it started 9 years ago when I got in the organization. I mean, I would say I wasn't even close to being on the same page as him. And I probably thought at the time I knew what I was doing and that, you know, that we should be on the same page. But it takes a lot more. It took a lot of time to stay after practice. Ever since I was a rookie, times in the off season to get together, to be on the same page, to know where the ball is going to be, so he understands my speed, how I break out of a route. There's so many pieces that go in together to be able to have chemistry with an offense, with your quarterback, and also with other players in the field. So we got a good relationship on and off, and just trying to build it as big as possible. You know, I mean, being around here in this organization, I mean, just helps out big time. I mean, you know, everyone has the same opportunities. Everyone's grounded around here. Coming in, you know, when I was here rookie, you think, you know, everyone's going to be like superstar-ish and all that, but it's not one single bit. Everyone's humble, everyone's hungry, and everyone works for what they get. So it's awesome to be around that atmosphere because it's truly how it should be.
Tell us about Bill Belichick and how he holds players accountable.
You know, I mean, he definitely holds players accountable out there, and which is a good thing. I mean, it makes you play your best football, and makes you go out there and it makes you want to put it on the line for your teammates, because you know your teammates are putting themselves on the line, and the coaches are putting themselves on the line too to get the best possible matchups, best possible scheme, whatever it is. So it's good.
Can you describe the emotions of winning a Super Bowl, losing a Super Bowl? What are those nights like?
Yeah, I mean, I've done both. Won a Super Bowl, lost a Super Bowl, and I mean they're two totally different, you know, emotional ways. But I mean, at the end of the day, the win. If you win, you know how it is. You can just describe it perfectly. It's one of the best days. The emotions are high. Everything's amazing. But I mean, I would say on a loss, I mean, the emotions, you know, aren't so high. But I mean, at the end of the day, when you know you gave it everything you had, which this team always does, even when we lost Super Bowls, I mean, you got to keep your head high because you made it that far. It's an accomplishment to make it that far. But now it's a whole new season, so this is the whole new game, whole new Super Bowl coming up this Sunday. So we'll see how it goes. Oh, yes, definitely. We do the Super Bowl raffle about every year. GronkRaffle.com. They'll get in for some tickets and win. But it works perfect. It's doing super well, actually, because Matt Light, former teammate of mine, I teamed up with him, and he's going around doing all the, you know, media press for it and everything, and he's the perfect person to do it. So we're combined together to you know, raise money for a good cause. Last year we went around and donated all the money to Boston Children's Hospital. So this year we're going to do the same, and Matt's going to have some for his foundation too, which is always a great cause. So it's always good to team up with Matt Light with something like that. He's always on top of the ball, and you want to team up with a guy like Matt Light. Yes.
Thank you, man.
Almost to the day, you had your first Super Bowl experience. Explain how this is different. I know you're married, you got a family, you got all this, but is the preparation different, or is it the same?
I think the preparation is, it's different, but it's in some ways easier for me because I'm very efficient with what my routine is. I think when I was a young player, you're watching tape and you're studying, you're going through things, but you don't really know what you're looking for. And you know, now I have a plan every time I, you know, want to sit down to study and how to understand an opponent, how to understand coverages and how they work, and you know, how to understand how to put together with Josh, you know, a plan that we can have a lot of confidence in. So I was so young and naive. And as a young player, I'm probably a little less naive now, and but I still love the competition. I still love, you know, trying to win football games, and it's probably the first love in my life, thankfully, and I'm still enjoying it now.
Yeah, speaking of great challenge, you got one in front of you. Those two great tackles, Sue and Donald.
Yeah.
And then you have a Hall of Fame coach,
Yep.
Wade Phillips, you're going against.
Yeah.
I mean, can you tell us a little bit about that challenge? And it's got to keep you up at night looking at that defense.
Yeah, I think you realize that when you play great defenses, they're going to make their plays. I've focused this week so much on, not making a bad play worse and just trying to really concentrate when the ball's in my hands and, not losing the ball. I mean, Sue's done such a great job, not only getting to the quarterback over the years, but knocking the ball off the quarterback. Aaron Donald does that better than anyone in the league at this point. Fowler got it to me, got it off me in Jacksonville this year, kind of the drive, the play of the game in that game. So Rocker's a hell of a player. Ebby Khan's a great player. So they definitely have a great D-line. We're just going to have to hang in there and fight them out all day and try to be as competitive and stay balanced. So you just can't become a 50, 60 pass game and just
kind of the same, to an extent. What you really remember is, what happened. So I really couldn't tell you much from the week in Houston. I can tell you what happened in the game. I really can't tell you what happened in Minnesota, but I can tell you the result of that game. So that's really what you remember. All the festivities, or it is what it is. But those memories will fade, but the results won't.
Have you seen friends, family, and how do you have to do tickets? Great ones when I was on your team, and I saw a couple bad ones from the last play of the games. Tell me about your mindset. When you get there, there's not a better quarterback ever to play, to have the ball in those situations. How do you keep calm and just tell us a little bit about that?
I think it's I've always looked at that as an opportunity. Because if you're losing with 2 minutes left, what's the worst that could happen? You're already losing. So, I mean, it's kind of a no-win, it's a win-win situation. I mean, if you lose, well, we're already losing. If you got a chance to go back and win and make the plays, then that's what everyone's going to be talking about the next day. So you figure, you know what, man, I got a chance to be a hero. I got a chance. This is what sports are made of. This is when everyone wants to take the last shot. And I think our team has always responded to those situations, whether it was 2001 playing against the Rams. I mean, so many great players making plays in those situations, and it's carried over for a long time. We put a lot of emphasis on it. I mean, I think we practice it, multiple times a week, and then when it comes up, that's your opportunity to, to go show everyone what mental toughness really looks like. So just proud of our team and executing at the highest level when it matters the most. And, these games, for one reason or another, always come down to, defenses, I would say, getting a little tired at the end. And, typically the offense that has it at the end, has been the one that, goes down and wins the game. I'm still ready for a lot of blitzes. I know. I look at them and I just think all the variations of BS blitzes he can bring me in. I know. Good to see you, Ravo.
Tom, just a basic question to start, Tom. How was practice today? What was it like to get off the field today and go at it for a while?
Yeah, I think it was good for all of us to just get out there and burn some energy and, review a lot of things in the plan and still, tweaking things. There's still a lot of things that need to be, that we practice that, we just gotta just keep adjusting. So it's really only Wednesday. I'd say 60% of the game plan on a normal Wednesday is not even installed at this point. So we've already had a chance to install most things, but I think everyone just wants really good practices and try to, build a lot of confidence and anticipation with what we're doing. And, again, we're going up against great defense. They're going to give us a lot of challenges, and it's going to be great execution. That's going to, ultimately be the factor of how many points we're going to score.
Tom, this is Andrews and Shaq Mason grow in your time blocking for you.
Those are two great players, and both played here in the state of Georgia. David at UGA, and then Shaq, where we're practicing now at Georgia Tech, and they got a great relationship. Had a great rivalry, and the fact that they get to play together now is, very cool. They make a great, between the two of them, their communication and camaraderie as players is very unique and special. So they're great players. You know, they're ready for any matchups. They deal with, you know, big guys. They deal with quick guys. They deal with a lot of movement. They deal with a lot, and they take a lot of pride in it. And you know, there's just incredible players that bring so much to our team.
Why David's grown up in his relationship with you specifically since he was a rookie and stepped into that role?
Yeah, I've been so fortunate over the years, you know, to play with, you know, Mike Compton, Damian Woody, Dan Copen, Ryan Wendell, Dan Connolly, Brian Stork, and David. And it's such a unique relationship we have. You know, I got my hands on their butt, you know, for 70 plays a day. So, you know, that just brings a unique quality to a relationship right there, a lot of trust. And, you know, we just have so much fun together. I think our communication is so important to what we're doing. And, you know, I love all those guys. I think about some great memories with all of them. And, you know, David's just had an incredible career since he's been here and kind of held that position down, has learned, grown, given more responsibilities as a team captain. And, you know, I love David. I can't say enough good things about him, what he means to our team. And, you know, he's got a great career at him. Is that right? Well, I know I'm related to the Expos, and I like that hat. You don't see too many of those around anymore. Yeah, it was a great organization.
Tom, your running game has gone from more solid to just dominant the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's kind of changed the personality. Smash mouth, picking up 7-8 yards, and gobbling up the clock.
Yep.
How impressed even have you been by it, and how key has it been to you getting here?
Well, it's been, I mean, there's been a lot of factors. I mean, I wouldn't put many above that. I mean, I think our ability to run the ball and control the clock and to set the tempo for the game. We talk about being a tough physical team, and that always starts with running the football and stopping the run. And if you can play physical in the run game, you know, it obviously sets up play action. It obviously sets up a lot of shorter yardage situations. You know, staying in third and short the percentages of conversion is so much higher than being in 3rd and 9. So all of it plays a role. We got to be efficient in whatever you do. Run it, throw it. You know, this game's about being efficient and, you know, not going backwards and, you know, no negative plays. And it's just this team challenges you because they are one of the best in the league at those things. And that's why they're in it. And they're going to make their fair share of plays. I think we all understand that. I mean, it's like when you play great offenses, you know they're going to gain yards. But you got to make plays at critical times. And, you know, if we get some situational opportunities, you know, 2-minute drive and short yardage situation, we just got to convert, and we got to get the job done.
Tom, you're not Super Bowl. You've learned how to really block out all these distractions and not create distractions for yourself. You really know how to lock it down now. What can you share with your younger teammates about that?
Well, I think it's just that we're here to win a game, and you know, there's a lot of other things that can happen over the course of this week, but the reality is it's just lock in on what our job is, as much film, as much physical and mental preparation as you can, and you know, that's what we got to do.
You guys are the best in the business when it comes to blocking out the noise, but I also notice you guys will use anything and everything as motivation as well. How do you walk that line?
Well, I think, you know, motivation is obviously comes from within, and then you get a few logs thrown on the fire from time to time, and that helps too. So I don't know, man. It's about bringing it every day, and whatever you got to do, whatever you got to get yourself to this emotional, mental place. You know, it's a good place to be for an athlete.
These Super Bowls are so long, all right? They're so long. You can go this so well at this point. You never have a chance to just relax for a second. They're a test in mental and physical toughness.
Yeah.
How big is that mental toughness piece?
It's huge because, you know, to keep your concentration for a long period of time, it's just a tough game. There's a lot of stoppages. It's a long halftime. It's a long pregame. I mean, you're on the field a long time. So I think just not pacing yourself, but also not wasting energy, you know, 20 minutes before the coin flip, you know, in this emotional frenzy, because, you know, it's going to be hard to sustain that. So I just think you know, ultimately when the ball's kicked off, it's a normal game, and we got to go out there and execute really well. And you know, both teams have their challenges. It's a little different game than what we played in, but you know, we got to be able to meet the challenge. Are my hands? You know, this is obviously if we win, you know, that would be an incredible achievement for our team. And, you know, one of the incredible achievements is a great remembrance, and that's, you know, a Super Bowl ring. And, you know, we want to play for those rings. That's what being a competitor is all about. And, you know, our team has established very high standards. And, you know, you can't win a Super Bowl ring in September, October, November, December, or, you know, many times January. You can win it in only 1 month, and you can't buy it. It's something that's earned, and if you win it, it takes a huge effort. And I think that huge effort is what you remember more than anything, because it's, you know, it's a lifetime achievement that is through a lot of hard work and commitment and dedication over a long period of time.
Do you still nap? You napped a couple times early on in the Super Bowls on that day.
Yeah.
Do you still nap?
It's been changed a little bit, because they used to do the big pregame show, and you would have a lot of time, I don't know, 40 minutes sometimes. It's not like that anymore, so it's more typical, I would say, of a normal game, although, you know, there's still a longer pregame. But
And have you ever spoken to the team on that Saturday night? What's that Saturday night like for you guys? A lot of athletes, football players would say it's one of the best times because the team's together, you know, and you're almost looking ahead to tomorrow. But has Bill given motivation and speeches? Have you ever got up and spoken to the team?
no, we've done a few different things over the years. I'm not sure how to go this year. I think, you know, we'll just see where we're at emotionally, and you know, everyone wants to get a good night's rest. It's a long day. It's a lot of anxiety built up, so everyone's just got to find a way to get to, you know, a good frame of mind, and then you got to cut it loose when it's your opportunity.
How do you spend that day?
What's that?
Yes, they're a good defense, and especially their front line. We're gonna have to play together. We're gonna be able to have to. Yeah, we're gonna have to stop them. You know, stop the penetration. You know, they got some great players up front, so we got to be ready for them. We got to stop the penetration, make some blocks, be able to run the ball and pass the ball. But it's going to be a battle. They're good. I mean, yeah, we saw that. We were underdogs. We were awful. You know, we're totally done. But you really can't let that noise come in. You got to, you know, you got to ignore it. I mean, but I would say this year though, we've taken it in more than any year usually. We've heard it more than normal, but we didn't let it affect us in a bad way. We took it in and then put it back out there with good energy. Just keep going, keep grinding. Let's prove them wrong. Let's show that we're still here. Let's show that we're still playing high. I mean, you know, it's NFL. You can have bad weeks. You can have a bad game. You can have a couple games that are bad, but we're going to still keep fighting, and we're not going to give up.
Brother Chris is a friend of mine. I was just wondering, what is maybe the best story of all your brothers together? Either a brawl or just a funny family event?
Yeah, I would say a couple brawls. We had some good brawls growing up, for sure. And the biggest one, I would say, the funnest game we played is when we put pillows in our stomach when we were growing up under our shirts. And then we all ran full speed at each other. Everyone got a corner. It was called Zoom, and we would all run full speed at each other. And whoever was standing was the winner. Chris was never standing. He always got laid out by me. I knew you'd like that one. It's a good city, great city. Heard lots about it, definitely. And we were there this year playing the Titans. So, I mean, I went down to my friend's house who was there and just saw the scene just in the car. So, I mean, it's a scene for sure. If you're looking for that, that's the place to be. Dang, probably something in the fitness industry. I just like being active, like being, out there, being fit, and inspiring younger kids to go out there. I like play 60, stuff like that. Inspire kids to go out there, play in the backyard with their friends, go play a sport. Just go out there, be active for a little bit of the day. Get out in the sun, get outside, do some things out there. Just love being part of that. Love exercising, like doing things like that.
You were at my bachelor party last year dressed as a leprechaun. Is that good luck for my marriage?
Yes, that is. I was there. Thank you.
If they gave receivers pound for pound like they do in boxers, where would you pound for pound?
Julian. And pound to pound, I would say he would rank really high up there. I mean, if you watch him play the game, it's kind of like the closest thing you can say a football player is to a boxer, the way he plays the game. Just runs, you know what I mean? Just runs full speed, puts his head on the line every time, puts his body on the line. It takes blows, gives huge hits, takes huge hits. Just the way he plays the game, I would say, is the most representable of that type of action.
He's not really harassed. As a receiving corps, how much more effective does that make your group?
Obviously, the more time you have, the better. And that's complementary football. So that's why it's the number one team sport. It's 11 men have to do their job for 3 to 5 seconds in order to execute a single play. And if one guy messes up, they can mess it up. So it's pretty awesome, and those guys work their tail off, and they're working. It took me a while. It took me a while to earn that trust. Do I remember what?
Do you remember the moment you felt like you earned his trust?
I thought it was like my first start against the Jets, and we had some stuff going, and that's what I learned. You got to continually earn his trust. You got to show it weekly, daily. It's not just a one-time thing. It's like you got to go. Yeah, because he's constantly trying to improve. If you don't, he's done.
Can you talk about your impressions of Atlanta so far and your little adventure the other night?
I did go on a little adventure.
We saw you, but I wasn't sure it wasn't you. Apparently it wasn't you.
I went over like the 4th Ward or something. If I said it wrong, I apologize, or anything. But I just went on a walk, and I was like a block away from where like MLK was born and stuff, and I just wanted to kind of see it. No one really was in for the Super Bowl yet. It was, I think, Sunday night. But it was cool to kind of see the little like restaurants, joints, and all that. You know what I mean? Like those little hipster joints they had. A lot of like soulful looking stuff. It just seemed cool, and I wanted to go check it out. And I ended up walking with this guy for like 30 minutes. He had no clue who I was.
Did you recognize it all?
No, it was pretty sketch where I went. I don't know where I was at, but it was kind of sketch. So dude started walking with me literally for 30 minutes. We were just talking. He was telling me everything. Yeah, like MLK was born over there. I'm like, oh man. He's like, over here is this. I'm like, damn, that's tight. So I had like a full-on tour guide from this random guy, and it was cool. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
You haven't really been here before?
I've never been here. I've never really been here. We played here, I think maybe once in my career. But I've never got to experience it. You know, all my friends say it's a cool town, and getting to see it. I mean, it seems pretty live, and I would like to check it out.
Julian, how much that you and the other wide receivers wants to show that you can win one more Super Bowl, even though you don't have a star like Will Jones or guys like that?
And I'm like, what are you doing? You know, whereas normally I'm the one doing it, and sometimes I do that to myself. You know, when it's a bad throw or a bad read. But I don't know. I've learned a lot from our great coaches. I mean, from Coach Belichick all the way down to Josh, Charlie, Billy, all the guys that I've worked really closely with. I mean, they have great styles, great strengths, and you know, in this game you need great coaches. I mean, they work so hard to put us in a position to succeed, and I've had so many great coaches over a long period of time.
Tom, how do you spend those last hours?
No, I'd say it's pretty similar. I was dealing with, you know, my thumb injury, you know, for that entire 2 weeks, which was a little bit frustrating. I think I've been really excited this year that I've been able to practice every day. So the physical preparation has really matched the mental preparation, and which I wish, you know, it always gives you a little more confidence when you're practicing and doing those things. And the fact that I've been able to be out there with the team has been really great for me.
Julian, as a former quarterback, you guys aren't really known for loving contact necessarily, but he seems like he seeks it out on the field rather than avoids it. Have you ever seen anyone play like that? I mean, you've seen it so long now, but
Yeah.
even like the Chargers game, it's the fourth quarter, he's diving into guys up 20 points.
I know he's got a physical style of play, and I think he enjoys mixing it up. And he's got a great, you know, playing strength about him. He always has. He's been very physical route runner, even for his size. You know, you don't think of Julian as a big guy, but Julian is, you know, he's got a great center of gravity. He's got, you know, a lot of core strength. So he plays much bigger than his frame, and you know, that provides a huge benefit to our team.
Did the throw bother you more than you let on last year before the game?
What did I let on? I don't remember.
You said it wasn't bothering you. You said by the time you started back crossing that it was okay.
No, it bothered me. Yeah. I mean, I would have preferred not to have it. I mean, I had a bunch of stitches in my hand, but by the game, I was feeling pretty good. There's the practices leading up to the practices and stuff that you don't quite have all your adrenaline there. So when you have a wound, it's not ideal.
Tom, about your relationship with Bill time and time again, but some of the things you were just saying, could you imagine at this point in your career maybe not playing for Bill because of such a comfortable relationship?
Yeah, I think it's such a hypothetical, you know. I think it's kind of pointless, you know, because
Your comfort level with Bill, how much?
well, we have a huge degree of trust in one another, and you know, I know he's working every day to make our team the best it possibly can. You know, I'm trying to do the same, and it's just we've been together for so long. In a great way. I've learned so much from him. You know, I've just tried to be what I think a quarterback should be for a team, and I mean, like I said, I'm so happy I have great coaches that I can count on, that I trust, that I rely on. And between Josh as my offensive coach, you know, we have such a great relationship, and how I interact with him and how much I trust him and what he sees, and to call, you know, exactly what he thinks is going to be the best thing. I mean, it's a great comfort for a player.
Tom, you've been able to play these games as postseason on your own terms as a team. It starts with running the ball offensively in so many ways. Can you remember a postseason where 2 games in, you've been able to play both games really on your own terms, starting with running the football?
Yeah, that was good. You know, to get off to a good start in both those games is really critical. Obviously, and at Kansas City, we lost that lead. And this is a little different game, too. I mean, it's such a long game. You're going to have to play great, basically 4 hours of football. And you'd love to start fast, provide some margin of error, but we were down a bunch a couple years ago to the Falcons, and it worked out pretty good. So whatever it takes, man, you got to have mental toughness to just fight on and keep fighting, and eventually the clock's going to hit 0.00 at one point, and that's the time where you need to lead.
How do you spend the last hours
Brady
before the
had
game?
had the same success even without Bill Belichick. What have been the main predictions from Belichick?
To have the same success without the greatest coach doesn't make any sense to me. He's an incredible coach, and I think, players need coaches and coaches need players, and he can't do my job and I can't do his job. And I think, it's just been a great partnership, great relationship we've had, and I've enjoyed it from the time that I got here. And he's a great coach, been a great mentor. I'm sure all the players that have played for him, have a great deal of respect for Coach Belichick and everything he's brought to our team.
Big anecdote. Remember, you tell us a big anecdote someday?
With Coach Belichick and I feel like all those stories have been told. We've been together for a long time. Our routines are kind of what they are, and we meet and we talk about football and what we need to do to help get the job done.
You came to Japan. You tried Japanese sumo 2 years ago.
I did.
Yeah. Do you have a message for Japanese fan?
That was one of the best experiences of my life. And I had my oldest son there with me, and he was in the sumo stable with me. And I have so much respect for that sport and the tradition and the history of the sport and those athletes and the commitments they make to as the national sport. They're incredible athletes, and it's such a disciplined sport, and there's so much respect for your opponent and respect for the for the kind of the place of the competition. And I hope I can do it again someday. Yeah, thank you.
Spend those last couple of hours before the game to make sure that you're mentally and physically fresh, given how the late start time and all the anticipation.
I try to just, destimulate as much as possible. I don't put the TV on. I don't put maybe some soft music. Try to keep it dark. Just try to rest and not get my heart rate up. And that's really it.
Is that the same that you've done? Has that evolved, or is it the same process that you've done for this game out online?
It's always a little different. So, yeah, it's always a little different because you had some early starts. We played in Arizona. We played obviously on the East Coast. Played Central Time. It's always been a little different.
You mentioned 28. Have you heard from any Falcons people or fans down here, hotel workers?
No, nothing.
Surprised by that?
I haven't been out and about much, so I haven't come across too many Falcon fans.
Can you take me back to 17 years ago and just your thoughts, emotions, and gratitude during the national anthem before you go and play that game?
Yeah, that was quite a long time ago, but it's just been great experiences, and I think when you're always standing out there, it reminds me so much when I was a kid and I'd watch the Super Bowl and they'd have the Star Spangled Banner going, and you'd see the players, and it's just very surreal to be one of those players now. So it was kind of surreal then. It's still surreal for me. As soon as that ends, you're ready to go. So that's when you kind of get into football mode.
Hey, Tom, what was it like getting back to practicing, kind of getting back to a normal week?
It was really good. It was good. It's good to just run around, and obviously, nothing in practice is ever perfect. So we've got some things that we're just working on, and I'm sure it'll go all the way through Friday.
You always talk about, you can tell kind of how practice goes throughout the week and the energy level. How was the energy level? How were the guys to get back and try to get refocused, would you say?
I think guys are, as focused, as we can be. And, we're always trying to improve. And, again, nothing's ever quite perfect. But it's good to be on the field and working on things that are going to help us win the game rather than working on things that aren't going to help us win the game.
Tom, Jared Goff was the same age now as when you won that first Super Bowl. So will there be times where you'll be curious watching him across the field in this game because you were there?
Yeah, I think he'll do a great job. He's a great young player, and that team has a great offense. They got a great system. They're well coached. Robert Woods, I think he's a hell of a receiver. Brandon Cooks, I mean, he knows how much I love and respect his game. One of the hardest workers I've ever been around. One of the most mature players for his age that I've ever seen. And they got a great offense. So. I have fun going against anyone. That's, I think, the reality. Whether it's Mahomes or Roethlisberger or Rivers or Breeze or, it could be whoever. As long as I'm on the field playing, I'm loving it. Yep.
Hey, Tom, how do you handle...
I do appreciate his sense of humor, but I don't have too many stories.
Tom, how do you handle the media these days? I mean, you seem like you're very comfortable in this place, but it's going to be hard sometimes with all the questions that we're asking fire away. What kind of approach do you now take with these days?
Well, I got back after practice. I wanted to calm down a little bit because, you run around and there's a lot of energy and emotion at practice, and just did my treatment with Alex and calmed down a little bit and then came down here. So, I've been doing these for a long time. 24 years going back to college. So, it's pretty cool to be here this day doing this. There's no place I'd rather be in the world. Yeah. I'm so impressed with everything. He's, Julian's an incredibly hard worker, and he's got a lot of mental toughness. And, to overcome the injury like he did was, most guys have a kind of a down year when they come back from an ACL, and I wouldn't say Julian's really had that. Julian has been a big part of our offense since he came back, and I know he's feeling really healthy this time of year, and that's a good thing for our football team. Absolutely. So I feel like we, our coach is the best that's ever coached. Josh, is the best coordinator in the league. I think that gives us a great chance. And then we got to go execute it. So we have good plans. Now it comes down to our job to go execute them, and we're going against a team that is going to be very challenging to execute against. But hopefully we have enough mental toughness to play for 60 minutes and try to make more plays than them. So thank you, guys. Thank you.
No, I don't.
Is it crazy about this?
I was.
So 17 years ago, Brady was there. He's still here. How nuts is that?
It's insane. It is crazy, and it's crazy to be a part of it. That's a part of him still going and being on top of it in his A game.
How excited was everybody when they finally got the game plan in for this game? You guys were able to get out there in the field and kind of get everything going again.
It is good to get back out in the field, no doubt about it. Getting back out in the field kind of, takes away everything that's going around. Because, you're out there, you're grinding, you're going. And when you're out in the field, like even during the game, it's like being out, same thing. Being out in the game is just your focus on the game. There's nothing, that's what you're focused on. There's nothing else, that matters. And that's why they say to play sports. It brings you together. And also same with practice. When you're out there practicing, it just feels good to be out there rolling around, and all other noise is just blocked out whenever you're out in the field. All right. Who's that? She'll have you do it.